Thank you so much for joining me. You're watching Esther from Stampin' Star Creations. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the UK. I'm really glad of your company tonight. So, I've got a stamp set to show you tonight, which is geared sort of, I guess, for the masculine, you know. I'll say party, the masculine community, I don't know. I'll show you in a minute. And so we're going to be using that. I'm hoping to use just two colours, namely black and white, very monochrome, very kind of simple colours to show you what you can do with just black and white. So I'm hoping to do that with you tonight. Yeah, it's been a mixed week, as I'm sure you're all aware. I'm going to desperately try and avoiding using that C word that we all know about, because I'm up to here with it. And let's get crafting. Let's talk about something else for once. I wrote down a quote my son said earlier about he said I'm fed up about it. I'd rather hear about Brexit, he said, and he's only 10. It was really funny. So good evening everyone, I'm really glad to have your company. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get crafting together. So if you're new to my channel, do say hello, let me know where you're coming in from and how you discovered me maybe. And I'm going to do some stamping. Don't run away. Stamping is very versatile, I'll have you know. It's amazing what you can do with a bit of paper and ink. So let's turn you around. Here we go. Okay, so this stamp set, now I've got some new lighting, so I'm going to turn this one off, I think, if I can reach the button, she says. And, oh no, it's not this one, it's this one over here. It's called the Well Dressed Stamp Set. Now, because I've got new lighting, I might have to fix it up a little bit. And this is some of the new release celebration. So with a £45 purchase at my shop at stampinstarcreations.co.uk, you can get this stamp set for free. So this is quite a cool, fun stamp set, very suave, very cool. So yes, we're going to play with this tonight. I'm just going to check in who's here, because this is a Facebook Live. I do leave this up so other people can watch it. And I'm saying hello to people who are talking to me live with my broadcast. So, hi there, Gina and Cindy and Bobby and Steph, Marlene, Laurie and Susan, Ellie and Christine. Thank you. Cindy says, I found you by accident and I haven't let you go. I'm so glad, Cindy, because you're one of my #1 fans. So I'm going to leave that there. So what I wanted to show you tonight is going from simple crafter right through to avid. So if you hear these terms, it's sometimes terms that you might hear us Stampin' Up! Demonstrators use. So going from a simple stamping to casual, sorry, not simple, what's the word? Or beginner stamper, shall I say, beginner stamper, somebody who's just been introduced to stamping, to a casual crafter, somebody that might dabble with crafting and stamping, to a avid crafter, so you're all about the crafts, okay? So I wanted to show you 3 kinds of different cards using those kind of terms, using this stamp set. So obviously starting simple, I'm not going to use too many layers and too many colours. Now I am going to have a bit of an exception to the rule, and I'm going to use smoky slate, which after saying I'm going to use 2 colours. I suppose white isn't really a colour, is it? It's a shade, I guess, and so is black. But there we are. Let's not argue about shading. So in the stamp set, you've got some larger images like these here in the 4 corners. Then you've got a medium size, and then you've got these, what I call the smaller images here, okay? I can see you posting now, Ellie, you're okay. So I've mounted these all up on a block, and the joy of mounting them all on a block together like that is that you can just use them as a background stamp like this. So I don't want it to completely take over my card, but I just want to create a border in the background with it. Shall we go all the way around? In my little prototype session, I just did it down each side like this. Okay, now this paper is distracting me. Let's see if I can find a one that's not so stamped over. Kiora, Harry. Good to see you. So now I'm going to introduce... Oh, I've gone and put him in there. Oh, I changed it, that's why. I wasn't going to do this one, I was going to show you another one. I'm going to have to stick with this one now. Let's see if I can still stamp this. I'll show you two ideas, shall I, while we're here? Because it shouldn't take long. When you're simple stamping, it doesn't take too long. Now, because it's nice and quick and easy, it's about stamping some paper. So this is our Memento black ink. Now this is, as you can see, is like a fabric type of ink pad. So with a fabric one, you can afford to hit it a bit harder. Ellie's laughing at me. And the other thing I discovered is if you swipe it, you get this kind of really cool texture. Now you might not pick that up on the camera straight away, but let me show you. It might come out on the paper. It's got this kind of, look at that. Can you see that texture effect we've created? I thought that was quite fun. And then I'm going in, adding in another stamp set. I said I was only going to use one stamp set. I lied to you in my title. I'm going to use Label Me Bold. And something like just as simple as the happy birthday sentiment. Let's just bring this back down. Oh no, I've got to be careful. What am I doing here? Let's just swap out the plates and pick this up as I'm going to use this. Just a simple happy birthday. Now that hasn't, can you see what I'm doing? There we go. I'm just going to ink this up. So as you can see, I laid down my stamp first and then picked up with my plate, because this is what we do with this Stamparatus. It's a stamp positioning tool. So nice and easy, nice and simple. I'm just going to show you what that looks like on a piece of black card. Now, sometimes men don't like it too fussy. Just a really simple and easy card that you can do, stamps to paper. Okay, let's stick with the simple because I want to show you an idea of what you can do with this Stamparatus. And I'm going to bring back the tie and bring back my... Where are you, tie? Come back. And with the Stamparatus, we can do something called the hinge step. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to give it a twist. Let's see if we can get a different design on the tie. And we just press that down, and that transfers the image. Now, if for whatever reason you want the image to be darker, or if you missed a spot, you can go back in, ink it up, press it back down. It really helps to have the magnets in place to stop it sliding around. Now this just slips out and I've moved it along one notch, and these stamps are very cleverly designed so that they're spaced out enough so that you can do another image. I'm going to leave that lighter actually. I'm going to pick this up, you put it at a 90-degree angle, pick it up, put it back into the slots. And I'm not going to ink this up and see what this looks like. It depends on the man, indeed, Cindy. Some men like it a bit more sophisticated, a bit more complicated. Some might like it simples. And the other thing I thought you could add is like a little, you could add a little, what's it called? Oh, what's the word? Tie clip. Hello, Carrie, great to see you. So that's quite classy in itself. I mean, that would be really fun for an invitation, wouldn't it? Again, you could add in your background detail on there if you wanted. Anything you want. So that's two really simple and easy cards, okay? Just using that stamp set. You always say it like a dinosaur name, Stamparatus. I think if I call it a Stamparatus, I sound a bit posh. Oh, some people call it a Stamposaurus. Okay, so let's step it up another level. Using our Stamparatus. I don't like it. I sound a bit, don't know, what's the word? Not sure about it. Okay. Now, you'll be pleased to know I've done some preheating and embossing earlier. Now for this, I wanted to create a border down my edge. So when you place stamps on the Stamparatus, you don't want it too close to the edge because you've got to allow room for that the gap where the hinge is, and it doesn't like stamping right into the corners because of the hinge. So just keep it away a little bit and that should be fine. So again, we're going to do that hinge step stamping. So we can go in and lift and down. It's a bit like an exercise class. And I'm just going to run this through quickly, so we're not here all night watching me stamp the same image. But this is, you know, well, I know I've just showed you, but it's something that can be done with our Stamperators, unlike some stamping positioning tools. Now this creates a really cool chevron zigzag down the left hand side. Ellie says, I always think of an apparatus that we used at school in the gym. Okay, now what was my ideas? I should get my cheat sheet back. I'm going to get my little bits and bobs in my basket ready. So earlier I've gone ahead and I heated and I heat embossed in black. Look, I've got shiny shoes, a shiny hat and a shiny umbrella. Now some of you might have never seen heat embossing before, so I'm going to just run you through that quickly. Lots of tips tonight. Let's find a scrap. I've got lots of scraps lying around on my desk. And I'm going to just show you quickly how I did that, because I want to have a pair of shoes, really. Now my shoes on here. I'm going to swap out my plate quickly. Now earlier, this is a embossing buddy. So this has got like I call it house dust. It's not honestly house dust, but it's like a fine powder inside this bag, and you just use it to rub over your paper before you do any embossing. And it's quite an important part of embossing, because when I did my embossing earlier, I didn't use it, or I forgot to use it, and I got bits of speckled embossing powder stuck to places that I didn't want it to go. So she says, looking for her, here it is. So if you're doing embossing, Versamark ink is your friend. So this is my old one. It's not the screen one that I sometimes use, which is much cleaner. And this is nice, sticky, wet, clear ink that we're going to go in and press. And now if you're scared that you've missed it, you go back in again, because we're using the Stamperators. Okay. And then somewhere around here, yes, I am organised, really I am. I'm going to grab out, oh, that magnet is strong. It's worth using though, it does keep it in place. I'm going to pop my black powder on it. Oh, I've caught the end. Oh, it's the umbrella. That's what it is. I was like, how did I manage that? So it's all grainy and powdery at the moment. I'm going to put the lid on this before I get black embossing everywhere. I'm just going to heat up my tool. I know some of you have seen this before, but there's bound to be people out there that haven't seen it. And in fact, I got a new downline today, and I don't know if she's watching, but particularly if she's watching, she gets to see how we do heat embossing. So welcome aboard my team, Roz. You know who you are. So I'm heating underneath because this helps with the paper warping or not warping. If you heat both sides, it helps your paper to stay nice and flat. Happy to see you, Lani. Thank you for popping on and joining me. There you go. So you've got a nice, clean, crisp... So, come on, phone. Get with it. I'm trying to focus here. Crisp image. And look, it makes shiny shoes. And when this is the first play I've had with this stamp set, really. It only came today because it was already on back order. It was so popular with us demos. And it reminds me of those kind of black and white brogues that you get. I mean, I like brogues anyway, but to have black and white brogues I thought were very classic. So I thought, actually, let's just stick to plain black and white, kind of monochrome colours, to show people that you don't need lots of colours. You can do it with one colour. And, you know, black and white, absolute classic. So I'm just quickly fussy cutting that out. As you can see, it takes no time at all, because you have to have a pair of shoes. You can't have one shoe, can you? You've got to have a pair of shoes. Okie dokes. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is, if you have yourself some white ribbon like this, you can colour it. Now, you can colour it with our stamping blends, which are alcohol markers. And I've seen people do this, where they colour in like this. And I thought, I wonder if there's a quicker way of colouring it in. So I've laid down my pen on the ribbon and I'm running my ribbon through. Look how quick and easy that is. So placing my pen down and actually running my ribbon through. It might miss a spot, but just go over that bit. And it might just pick up a few ribbon fibres. Don't worry about that. Look, you can just pick it off and it's fine. So I'm going to do a Blue Peter moment, and here's one I made earlier. Ellie says, my mum always told me that those shoes were known as cons. Oh, back in the 50s, but I don't know what it was short for. If anybody knows, you can let us know. Here's some I coloured in earlier. It doesn't take long to dry at all. She says, no, good job. I was like, please don't come off on my hands. I want to show them how quickly it dries, because it's an alcohol marker. It does dry quickly. Right. Now, there's a few ways of doing this. If you really want to save yourself some ribbon, you can cut the ribbon in half, attach a bit to the top and the bottom, and then tie it. But because I've coloured all this ribbon in, I'm going to just use it on my card. So I'm going to tie. Now, I like to say bows for girls, knots for boys, because men aren't that kind of girly bowy, are they? So I do bows for girls, knots for bows, for boys, bows for bows. There we go, putting my finger in between, wrapping it round and hoping for the best. There. I'm just going to snip off the excess. Now I've got enough excess here to probably do something with it. I didn't measure it, I just kind of lobbed it off the thingy-me, the roll. There we go. I know, I'm full of tips tonight. Aren't you glad that you joined me? So let's get out our little set. So we've got brogues, or cons, whatever you want to call them, a hat and a brolly. And I thought that was quite suave. You can group them together, you can move them around, you can add a sentiment. I'm just going to mount this on a black so you can see. Just thought maybe it was short for contrast. Oh, yes. Now, the other thing that you can do with your black marker, in fact, I'm going to tell you the next version. So that's another version. Let's do that again. Now, I've already gone ahead and done these again in another set. But I wanted to show you again by just using, am I using the word again like loads of times? Sorry. Oh, con artist, said Harry. It could be for con artist. Using just a grey blend, you can go in and just highlight certain areas. Now, you've got to be careful, I guess, where you highlight. But you might want to highlight the edges of the black. And this just adds bit more detail to your actual image. Look at that. Now with the hat, I wanted to try something a bit different, and I was going to colour this bad boy in completely black. Could have even had a bit of a shadow there, but a bit late, never mind. So you can colour these in, you can stamp it on paper. Going to colour all that in black. Oh, I've got to do this brogue as well. Oh, suave. Okay, I've got to make sure I match it up so it looks similar. Could even do a shadow along here, couldn't we? There we go, and even maybe a bit of highlight to this umbrella, add something to it. You can even go around the edges if you wanted. Act as a shadow. Maybe do a shadow under the hat. There, so I'm just going to bring this one back to show, sorry, to show you the difference. Look, that's without any highlights and that's with the highlights. You can see the difference. Now, some of you, again, have seen this before. Actually, before I show you that, I'm going to show you something else. Somewhere around here, I had a scrap of ribbon. There it is. And I thought I could find the glue dots. I know where you are. Sepia. Oh, yeah. I did think about doing sepia, but I thought, no, I'm just going to stick to black and white tonight, because I'm going to head over to YouTube when I finished here and do something completely different on YouTube. So I'm just going to use my glue dots and I'm going to attach a bit of ribbon behind the hat, like a proper gangster hat like that. Can you guys see that? My lighting has gone a bit funny, isn't it? Let's see if I can add a little bit more light on the situation. There we are. I'm going to just snip that off around the back. Good morning, Vanessa. Great to have your company. And then we're going to add another glue dot to make sure this attaches. Now I'm going to turn this around to make sure it does sit down nicely on the hat. Make it nice and tight. Oops. There we go. No, he's not sitting nice and tight how I want him. Come on, please cooperate. We're doing a live here. There. So it's like a proper gangster hat. Okay, so we've got all our bits and pieces ready. Now, the other thing I wanted to do with my ribbon, and I know some of you have seen this before, but I'm going to do it again, because there's bound to be somebody out there that goes, I haven't seen that before. The Kingsman, yes, that's what it reminds us of. What is going on with the lighting? It seems really dark and I don't know why. Hi there, Wonder. Maybe that's a little bit better. So you can actually heat emboss this ribbon. So you lay down your ribbon. I found it easier to do it on a block. And then I'm going to press my ribbon in between and sandwich it in between my Versamark ink and run it through like so. You kind of want to know where you started with your. I'm just going to do that again, and then I've lost my. Everything's piling up in one corner. It's a really cool stamp set, isn't it? And then I'm just going to take off. Then you just, you can't even see what I'm doing. Sprinkle on your embossing powder like so. Just quickly clean this up. Now I found it quite useful to have some tweezers on hand. Like I call these my bobby tweezers, like crosshead tweezers like this, just to hold the ribbon in place. Now this heats quite quickly, so it doesn't take long at all. Ellie says that hat reminds me of the guy from Dad's Army, Walker, who got all the black market merchandise. So let's draw you in for this bit, because this is the exciting bit. You can see it turning, it turns really quickly. Ellie says she couldn't do it without her tweezers. Yeah, it's really handy to have the tweezers. Now I've done this before with gold and with silver. It does change the, what's the word I'm looking for? Compound? That sounds like a good word, doesn't it? The composition, maybe, of the... Okay, sorry, I'm going to have to move this down. It's such a long piece of ribbon. Now, I think if you didn't lay it flat, it will tend to curl, so just bear that in mind. fighting me now. Okay, that'll have to do. Yeah, it changes the texture of it. Okay, so what it does is it does stiffen the ribbon up, okay? It makes it stiff and less pliable to work with, but it's a really fun way to get shiny black ribbon, or if you've got silver embossing, silver ribbon, makes it more textured. And what I wanted to do was to add that to, let's bring back our stamparatus quickly. How am I doing on the old time? Let me get in there. I'm YouTube in a mo. Okay, let's see how quickly we can do this and get this card together, shall we? Cassie says she's liking the masculine card. Harry says it reminds her of cassette tape. Yeah, he's showing our age now with cassette tapes. Even I remember the cassette tape. So we're doing the hinge step. And you know, you're not limited to your colours. If you've got other colours, I've seen somebody use this stamp set with some really bright, oops, gone and smudged my card. We're going to carry on, because there's a way of fixing smudges. Just add to it rather than trying to take it away. Sorry, as I was saying, yeah, I've seen somebody do this with like really bright colours, which was fun. Okay, so we're going to do the same again in the hope that I've cut enough ribbon. I'm going to wrap it round and tie it off. Like I said, it will act a bit more stiffer and more difficult to, less pliable, but we can work with it. Nice to add a bit of texture. There you go, and it's almost like, goes a bit rubbery almost. There you go, just snip off those edges. Now, hiding boo-boos, I'm going to add some splatter. That's a great sure way of hiding those boo-boos. Another great way of using your pen, but you want the thicker end for this. We could all pretend we don't know what a cassette is. Yeah. Ellie says, I like the way you're using those arrows. I wouldn't have thought of that. There we go. If we give it a whack, it gives it a splatter. And it just adds even more texture. Wanda's starting to show her age. She says, I know what that is, and an 8-track, and a Walkman, and before any of them existed. So where's my little shapes? I'm going to bring back our shapes. So we've got the pair of shoes, pair of brogues. We've got our cool dude's hat. Have I got a piece of black card? I think I've used the... Oh, I don't know what I've done my card, but let's just nick that one for now. And then one last thing, because we can. I've got 0 minutes. Is obviously to, well, I say obviously, again, not everyone might know this. We can use our Stampin' Blends to colour in our pearls, and this will dry because it's alcohol based. So by turning them black, I think it kind of takes away that pearl looking element to it, and instead turns into like just an element on your card, embellishment or an element. And I think I'll go ahead and stick a sentiment on that as well. So 3 ways with that stamp set, and this is just really knocking it up a notch and creating some fun things with that stamp set. This one was colouring the ribbon with the Stampin' Blend, again embossing those images. And then we did some simple cards tonight, which I can't find on my desk, which have disappeared. Very helpful. Here they are. Okay, so they should have given us a pair of shoes, not just one shoe. Well, you can make 2 shoes, can't we? So starting simple. I mean, you can even like get some sprinkles on there, I would. Some splatters. starting simple, working your way up, and then going bam. There. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight's live. That was with the Well Dressed stamp set, which is now available as a free celebration item with a £45 purchase. I'm going to turn the camera. Oh, that was quite smooth. I did it so quickly. Now they look like raised black dots, indeed, indeed. So I'm going to head over now to YouTube. So same name as you found my channel, Stampin' Star Creations, and I'm working on something for Mother's Day. So I'm going to do a bag and hopefully a matching kind of card to go with it. So I'm going to clear my desk of the masculine and bring on the feminine, and hopefully I'll see you all over there. It's great to have your company once again. Take care, God bless, keep safe, and hopefully I'll catch you in a minute over on YouTube. Thanks everybody, hopefully see you again next week. Bye bye for now.